once again, as you guys probably guessed, or just maybe not even guessed, but you just kind of assume now, Deb is not here. She's still good. I texted her this morning, and she's still good. She's still happy, but she's not with us right now. That's okay though, because we have two awesome guests. We got our friend Troy Spivey from the Spivey Special Podcast, and our new friend of this podcast, Vance Charvo. Both of these guys form the charity Golf Guys, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But what's going on, guys? How are you?
Good, Josh. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Always excited to talk to you guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we really appreciate you coming out, and we really appreciate Deb showing up like she always does. I remember the first time I was on your guys' podcast, she had that colander of grapes, and I'm never going to let her forget it. So, hey, Deb, I know you probably aren't going to listen, but we wish you were here.
That's okay. I'm glad you said that. I'll send her this clip and say,
Perfect.
hey, this is what you're doing
Perfect.
to our guests. This is what you're doing to our audience. You're killing the reputation of our podcast. Like, man, my back hurts these days from carrying this thing. It's a lot of work, but the bummer is even after saying all this, she doesn't care. She's like, yeah, she can still sleep very well at night. Not a problem. So, man, I'm excited to have you guys on. Troy, it's always fun to talk to you. I think this is your third appearance on the show, if I'm not mistaken. And then Vance, man, this is your first time. And so people kind of know how we're connected to Troy. We always like to start the show off by explaining how we're connected to our guests. If you guys are new to the podcast, we're connected to Troy and his brother Zach through your guys' podcast. We've both been on guests on each other's podcast, and we kind of started the podcast thing around a similar time. So we've been doing it for a while. And like I said, it's always fun to talk to you guys and hear your takes on everything, whether it be food or sports, pop culture. It's always fun to talk to you guys. And then Troy, you and I obviously played a little bit of baseball against each other growing up. I always like to say I watched you play while I sat on the bench, but it was fun watching those games. And then Vance, man, you and I grew up together.
We did, man. We've known each other a long time.
Man, a long time. Like going back to elementary school, did elementary school together, played baseball together through pony ball, and then kind of went separate ways at middle school. But have always kind of still been connected through softball leagues and things like that.
Definitely.
So that's kind of how we're connected. So I'm excited to talk more about what you guys are doing with Charity Golf Guys. So like, why don't we just start there? Like, how did this thing start? Why did you start it, and what's kind of the mindset and the heart behind the whole thing?
Well, I think we started this with the Crystal Rodriguez Memorial Scholarship Fund. Troy and I are both on the board. Troy has actually been on the board longer than I have, about 4 years longer than I have. And they started a golf tournament, and Troy was actually running the golf tournament to start and asked me to kind of help him out. He needed somebody to kind of bounce ideas off of. So that was, how long ago was that, Troy?
So we just a month ago, we ran our 11th annual Crystal Classic, which is crazy to think that it's been 11 years, but it was like the second or third year. I'm out there, I'm swinging, I'm missing, with golf tournaments, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Another reason why we started our business, it's very difficult to get things going. So the first year we ran our tournament, we had 34 golfers. Wasn't a very good turnout at all. We had no idea basically what we were doing, didn't give ourselves enough time to prepare. So I needed a golf tournament liaison. So my GTL, I reached out to Vance, get a little energy in there, and Vance and I together have worked really well as a team, and this has been something we really love to do.
That's
awesome. So
awesome.
it's been 11 years since that first golf tournament, and we've just kind of grown from there. So we took that idea and we ran the one for the Crystal Rodriguez Memorial Scholarship Fund. We ran that for probably 8 or 9 years before we started getting other people, asking us how to help them out run the golf tournaments. We had numerous people ask us, where's the first step to start? Enough people asking us how to do things and how to do this, where we decided that this might be something that we can actually turn into a business. And that's kind of where the Charity Golf Guys came from. So we started earlier this year as an official business. And, we've been dealing with mostly friends and acquaintances that we've known over the years that have kind of wanted to start doing their own tournaments. So that's kind of how it all came about. It's one of those things where it's still a side job for now, but we see this thing growing and turning into multiple, events a year to where we could potentially make, a good living just off this. So that's the goal, I guess.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I can see this thing blowing up for sure because like you guys said, I can't imagine how many times that people think, man, this golf tournament I just played in killed it, and I could do the same thing. Like everybody has that mentality. It's like I could do it. It can't be that difficult. And then they jump into it, and like their eyes get huge. And it's like, what did I just sign up for? And
It's a
so
lot.
it's a ton. And then at that point, you're potentially losing more money because you don't know what you're doing. And so, yeah, why not have some people that are experienced, especially 11 years, man, like 11 years. I know I said this last time you said that, but still, even hearing you guys say it a second time, that's a wild thought because that's a long time to do anything. I mean, how many
Yeah.
times do people, start something and then it just kind of phases out because, for whatever reason, life changes, they can't handle it, it gets too big and they grow too fast, whatever it may be. So, I mean, the fact that you guys have been doing this for 11 years is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so
no,
that,
definitely.
go ahead, Vance. You got it.
I think one of the things is that we have kind of taken the guesswork out of, people that are new to golf tournaments and trying to figure out exactly what to do and how to start it. We were those guys 11 years ago, right? And we've kind of built up a blueprint, you would say, of how to run a golf tournament. So we know exactly, what we need to be doing, how to start the process, how to get our vendors, how to get our golf course, how to get everything dialed in, and get things ready for that day of tournament. So we just kind of take the work off of everybody else. We actually, when we first started our company, right, the Charity Golf Guys, we were talking about being only a consulting matter. So people would come to us, get advice, and we would say, this is how you do it, and then let them go along their way and run the golf tournament. And after taking several meetings, we kind of learned that people didn't just want to be consulted and told how to do it. They wanted somebody to come in and actually do it for them. Right. So the first meeting that we took, we're at a board meeting. There's 6 people sitting around a little pop-up table at the Little League ball field. And one of the board members raises their hand. They're like, yeah, how much time do we have to volunteer for this? So, people want to do it and they want to raise money, but it's hard. And they're already, this Little League that we were dealing with, they already commit a lot of time throughout the year to other, fundraisers and tournaments and coaching and snack bars. So they already have a lot on their hands. So when we presented the idea of, hey, you can run a golf tournament, this is potentially how much you could make, but here's what you have to do, they were like not really sure that that was something that they wanted to take on. So then our business kind of changed. Troy and I sat down and kind of figured out, what could we do differently? And that's when the idea of, let's just immerse ourselves and we'll run the golf tournament for you. And we'll cut you a check at the end for, 80% of the profit. So that's kind of where that changed. And that was based on taking, a couple of meetings, seeing what the feedback was. People like the idea of running a golf tournament, but they didn't actually want to run the golf tournament.
Yeah, it's one of those things like Vance and I have both coached high school sports. We're both parents. We understand there's not a lot of time in the day. I mean, you're running kids to practice, you know what I mean? You're working on the field for some coaches. You got kids, you're doing this, you're doing that. The last thing you want to do after, being at work all day and then going to practice is send an email out to try to get a raffle prize for your golf tournament. And that is something that Vance and I, that's why we started our business, because we think how we have melded our business. We're going to run it similar to like Snap Raise and all those online, type of fundraising platforms, to where we always say we do 80% of the work and then you guys get 80% of the profit. And that's something that we like to tell everyone that we've had a meeting with. We're going to go out there. We're going to paint the town red, as Vance will say. But there are some things that these, nonprofits are going to have to help us out. We're going to need, volunteers day of the tournament. And so in that, you know what I mean? And then we need to get bodies in the carts. So those are the few things that we ask our people when we sit down for meetings is, can you fill up a golf tournament and can you give us bodies the day of the tournament? And really that's basically all we ask of the nonprofits that we work with.
Yeah, no, I have a couple of things based on what you guys said. First, let me ask this before I forget. So you mentioned, Vance, you mentioned that uh, it started off being, hey, we can consult people, and then it turned into, hey, we'll run it. Do you guys still offer a consulting option?
We do. So we definitely don't want to, we're not going to shy away from anything. If you've got, maybe you've run a tournament before, but you're looking for some ideas and pointers to kind of turn it one way or the other, make it a little bit more profitable. Um, or if you think you want to run it on your own and you just need some guidance, we definitely do that option. So we can sit down and have a meeting and kind of do a small fee for a layout, right? Here's a blueprint of what you need to do, what you should we have done by 6 months, 4 months, 3 months, 2 months, 1 month, and kind of go from there. So we definitely have that option. But what we've found taking those meetings is that more often than not, people just want the tournament to be run. They don't mind, paying the 20% fee that we have, right? We just ran the Crystal tournament and it was close to $20,000 profit, right?
Wow.
So people don't mind that split because they're gonna end up with a good chunk of change in their pocket.
Right.
And we don't mind it either because we enjoy doing it. We've got the contacts already set up. We've got the vendors, we've got everything already lined up, so it's actually easier for us than it would be for the normal person. So it just kind of works well together. But it's funny how it started as that. That was kind of Troy and I's original idea of maybe we'll just give our wisdom and
Yeah.
insight.
Yeah.
But it's kind of changed into people want us to run the tournament for them, which we like doing. Especially on the day of the tournament, it's we're out there, we're having a good time with the golfers, we're interacting with the people, and it's a great time.
So that's another thing that you don't really think about is we're out there, we're doing it. We like to give ourselves 6 months to run a tournament. So we sign the contract with the golf course and all that, and then we take care of all that.
Yeah.
So basically what happens if let's say you were a nonprofit, Josh, you'd sit down with us. We have a contract that you guys sign. You give us a deposit for our work that we're going to be doing. And then we go we talked about it on your other podcast. We're kind of like wedding planners in the way that you give us a date, day of the week, give us a couple of golf courses. We'll go out, we'll find the best deal. We have good relationships with a lot of the tournament directors around here. And we go out, we make sure that we're getting the best deal at the best course on the best day at the best time. There's so much that goes into it that people don't understand when you first jump into this thing, that we take care of basically everything.
Yeah, well, like you said, yeah, the wedding planner comparison is perfect because the whole purpose behind a wedding planner is one, so no one drops the ball, right? And that every detail is taken care of the way that the bride and groom want it. And then also they get to enjoy the day and they don't have to think about everything going into it. There's like, hey, someone else is going to handle this. We get to enjoy this moment in our life. And it's the same thing for you guys. Like, and Troy, what you were talking about, people not wanting to come home from a long day of work and then they have family responsibilities and house responsibilities, all these different things. Obviously, not only do they not want to do it, but even if you had someone who wanted to try to put on a golf tournament, if you're crazy tired at the end of the day and you don't have the right mindset or you don't have that second gear you can go into, I mean, there's a chance that balls are dropped and details are missed, and then all of a sudden you've been putting all this, you think you've been putting all this work in, and then only to get to like tournament day and realize I missed so many details because I was exhausted when someone else could have handled this for you.
And that's one of those things that we've done it for 11 years. We're not going to say that we're perfect at any stretch of the imagination, but every single tournament that we run, we learn from. We've learned from for the last 11 years. So those mistakes that you're talking about, we've already made them, and we make sure when we run our next tournament that those don't happen again. Like this past one, the 11th Crystal Classic, you know what I mean? We've already run 10 of them, so we know what to expect the day of, and we make sure that we take care of that on the day of the tournament.
Yeah. I just want to say this to you guys. I appreciate how much time and effort you guys put into research because I love your guys' Instagram, because plenty of times I see you guys at golf course with beer in hand, playing a couple of rounds of golf. It's like, this is perfect because you guys need to know that stuff. Like some people might be like, are they really working? 100% you guys are working. Like that's called research all the time.
Always working.
I love it. I love that. What better, like you said, what better job is that? Like you can do the thing that you love doing and help people. Like that's the best thing ever.
Yep.
We call it market research. Our
I like
wives
that.
call it annoying. But I mean, what can you do?
Okay, let me ask. That's a good question. I want to segue a little bit. Okay, so obviously you guys both play golf. I actually played golf for the first time in 12 years about 2 weeks ago. It was just as bad as it was
Wow.
12 years ago. I went with my brothers. My youngest brother Justin has gotten into golf recently. My middle brother Jordan still not so much, and then me, like I said, I went one time with 9 holes up in Rockland by Sierra College. Went to the same place, played basically exactly the same, like trash. But it's a fun thing. And do you get, like, you guys obviously love golf, but do your wives love golf just as much? You guys go out there with Vance is shaking his head.
No.
So I actually recently played in a golf tournament with my wife, and we had a really good time. But I wouldn't say it's something that she's really into. She has her own club. She'll go out there and play. We'll go to the driving range, but
Yeah.
when we go out and play, it's usually not with our wives. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
It's
And if you guys aren't watching the
just
video version,
guys.
they're both smiling. So
to put it nicely.
So the tournament you just did, was it specifically like a husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend type
So
thing? Or
it was for my wife's company that she worked with. So all the employees were able to bring their spouses if they wanted. And then
Oh,
it
cool.
was a similar scramble tournament, like a charity tournament that we had put on, but it was just smaller, 36 people. And it was just, it's not what you would normally see at a big event. It was very, very fun.
Okay, how'd you guys do?
I think we shot 4 over, which wasn't bad. The winner was only 6 under because it was us, me, my wife, and then another couple that we were with. So none of us were really great golfers. I'm average at best. I mean, unless you compare me to Vance, I'm really good. But but as far as like golfers, I'm okay. And then the other 3 we were with were just okay. We only had 2 birdies the whole day. I chipped in for birdie, and so did the other guy. He hit this laser beam from the rough, and it hit the pin and went down. It was
Really
cool. So the owner, he puts this on, everyone gets a door prize, and he pays for the drink cart. So the drink cart goes around, everyone gets drinks. And so it was a blast.
That's awesome. So Vance, you were saying, so like you reacted first for sure. Again, if no one's watching the video, Vance like just shook his head furiously. It's like, absolutely not. So have you tried golfing with your wife before?
So I did. I took her. The mistake that I made was I
Took her.
I took her straight to the golf course. Like, we didn't go to the driving range. We didn't try anything. I'm like, we're going to the golf course. So we're out there on hole number 1. And I think she hit the ball like 8 times by the time we got like even near the green. And so there's like 4 carts behind us, and she's just struggling hard. And I'm like, this was a terrible idea. So I think the fact that I did that, we kind of just threw her into the fire. I think
Sure.
that kind of turned her off to golf, because that was probably like 6 or 8 years ago. So she just doesn't really care for it anyway. I mean, maybe I did that on purpose. Maybe I didn't. Who knows? We'll never know. But
Never know.
she doesn't really want to golf with me now, and we kind of keep it at that.
All
Well,
right.
to be fair, I heard the story that on that hole she still beat Vance. So
But I had a smile on my face. So it was
that's
fun.
true. That's true.
Hey, I'll tell you this: no matter what their score was, that you guys would have both beat me for sure. So that's what about like Top Golf? You guys do top golf at all?
Top golf's fun. We'll go out there occasionally. She does. I mean, Stephanie, my wife, she will, like, she swings the club, and she's not great, but she gives it her best. But
That's it.
we go to Top Golf occasionally, but it's not. I don't think the golf is the go-to thing. So
No, you're kidding me. Absolutely not. The food.
No, I mean, most of the time we don't even like golf. We just go out there and we just get mad and cuss, and that's so. I mean,
Hey man, I'm sure you're not alone in that. I'm sure that's the case for most people who enjoy golf. Um, no, like I said, man, I love what you guys are doing, and I love the reason why you guys are doing it. Because, and like you said, 80%, 80-20, that split is, that 20% is, huge, because all that covers is, like I said, a massive headache. Potentially things go smoothly, and then at the end of the day, they're making potentially a lot of money. I know you mentioned that the Crystal tournament just made around near $20,000, which is
we're just shy
insane.
of $20,000 profit on that.
How many
And that's a
golfers?
tournament we've been running for 11 years, so
Yeah.
we've got it dialed in pretty good. But I mean, there's not, if we can get 100 golfers out to a tournament, right? If you have a pool of 100 people that we can get out there, you're going to make a decent profit
Yeah.
with a tournament that we run. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna say you're gonna make a boatload of money, but you're gonna provide for your your nonprofit, for your sports program, or for whatever you're running. You're gonna have a good chunk of change at the end of it, to help your cause.
And
Right.
the thing that we've learned over the 11 years is we've just found different ways to maximize the profit and maximize the money that we're getting out of the golfers. It's one thing to get a golfer out there. You're only going to make anywhere from like $40 to $55 a head for the actual golfing and eating portion.
Yeah.
So you have to find other ways to go out there and get the revenue, whether it be sponsors, title sponsors, games out on the course. You have raffles, you have auctions, you have mulligans, et cetera, et cetera. You have to find those extra, forms of revenue. And that's what's going to boost you, let's say, from a $5,000 tournament up to, 5 figures.
Okay. I think so. Another thing with golf tournaments is people run golf tournaments all the time. We're not alone in that, but people don't run golf tournaments well.
Sure.
I know you don't play a lot of golf, Josh, but I'm sure your listeners have played in golf tournaments before, where you go and it's kind of disorganized at the beginning,
right,
and then you get on the course and there's not a lot of options. So one of the things that we like to do is we like to have some sort of game, contest, food, or drink on every single hole. So there's 18 holes on the course. So you're always doing something. And now it's nothing big. It's not like it's going to slow down the course, the tournament, but there's always interaction. There's people sitting there on the hole giving out free things, or you're taking a shot, or you're doing some sort of contest. So there's always something to keep the golfer engaged in the tournaments that we like to run. And that shows, right? When we had this tournament, the Crystal tournament started with 34 people. We have consistently for the last 7 to 8 years, we've maxed out the tournament, which is 144 golfers. So we have 144 golfers show up every year, and then we tell them the date as we do the banquet at the end of the year. So they put it in their calendar and they're ready to go for next year. We have a wait list right now of probably about 5 to 6 groups, another 25 to 30 players that want to get in our tournament, and that we don't have enough spots. We have to, in order to make that next jump, we've got to be almost double. So we're not quite there yet. But we have people that want to do this tournament year in and year out. And that's really helped our numbers kind of grow to where they have. So people will run a golf tournament, and then you get guys that leave and they're like, man, that tournament wasn't that great. I'm not going to play next year. So maybe they run it 1 year and then they don't make a lot of money, and they're like, oh, that was so hard. And if we didn't make any money, we're not going to do that again. So what we've done is that we've kind of streamlined the process, and we interact with the golfers. We have fun things that come out, and do contests and games and raffle prizes and things like that keep the golfer entertained, as well as not spend all their money. We don't want to hit them up for money on every single hole. We want them to enjoy their experience and play the games and contests, and have a good time and say, I want to do that again next year.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we try to put in every tournament that we run, we call them water cooler moments. As we get older, there's not a lot of exciting things going on. But let's say you go into work and you played in a tournament, the weekend before. We have those water cooler moments. We have a gun that comes out called Launching for Charity. You put your golf ball in this, like basically a spud gun, and you shoot your golf ball 400 yards. It's something that's very cool. This past year, for our at most tournaments, you're going to have a long drive contest. What we did, Vance and his dad built a wrestling ring. We went out.
Wait, hold on, what?
We built like a wrestling. It was like a WWE wrestling ring. We put it on the tee box. You had to swing and you had to hit your drive out of it. And then the winner got this WWE championship belt. It was like
$200 wrestling belt, the 6-pound gold belt. So I mean, everyone was really into it. We had music playing at the hole, like different wrestling walk-up things, and everyone was taking pictures with the belt in the ring. And so that's another water cooler moment. Hey, I almost won this wrestling belt. The guy who won it was super excited, took pictures afterward, got to take it home. And another way that people don't understand is, sure, we just spent $200 on this, but we were able to, luckily enough, get a sponsor for that hole. So we used his sponsor money. We made money and we gave a really cool, activity and just a memory out there for our golfers.
I love that, man. I love the water cooler moment because yeah, you're right. Like that's something that obviously this is called Connectable, and the whole idea is connecting with people and in different ways that we connect. And like those water cooler moments at your place of work or when you're talking to friends or families, like that's a way that you connect because and it helps get other people connected with the organization, the charity that you guys are helping, right? Because Troy, you come to work, you talk to me and you said, hey man, I did this amazing tournament. And I'm like, hey, I golf too. Let me look into that. And you start building up the brand, which I think is pretty cool. And, I wanted to say too, like you guys keep mentioning, you guys have been doing the crystal tournament for a long time. And I don't know how much, I think you may have mentioned, I can't remember how much you made the first year. Now you might work with someone and they might have this, like, they might hear the 20,000, right? And they think, man, we can put on a tournament and then do 20,000. Probably not going to happen right off the bat, but that should be a good starting point because like you said, you can build off of that. The momentum is created in that first year. And if you guys do it right, I mean, we know you guys are going to do it right. I'm talking about like the charity. If they do it right, then that can build each and every year. And then you could potentially get to that $20,000 point at some point down the road.
Definitely. We're working with a company right now, a charity. It's the Lincoln Girls Softball Association. We're
Cool.
working on their tournament. It's coming up in April. And she, her and I have had a conversation. She said, I want to get this thing going. I don't want to just run a tournament this year. I want to run a tournament for the next 10 years,
Yeah.
So that's her goal. And that's what we try to tell our clients and our nonprofits is that, the tournament that we run the first time is not going to be as small and unsuccessful as the first tournament that we ran,
Sure.
right? Because we didn't know, but it's
Right.
going to be a mid to medium sized tournament because it's their first year. If you fill it up with 144 people, it's going to be a banger. It's going to be a good turnout. I mean, we have no doubt in that. But if we can get 100 people, it's going to be in that $8,000 to $10,000 range. We feel like, depending on how the sponsors come in. So that's definitely a viable option. It's not going to be a bad one your first time,
Right.
because we've already done those those smaller ones. Not to say bad, but we've done those smaller ones and we know how to maximize profits. So it's going to be a decent return on investment for that first year. But you're right, as you do it year in and year out, it's going to do nothing but grow.
And that's one of our things that when we have a meeting with a nonprofit, one of our jobs is to temper expectations.
Sure.
When we ran our crystal tournament the first year, Vance wasn't on the board yet, but I thought, hey, wow, I know a ton of people. We're going to get 1 million people to come out to this golf tournament. We gave ourselves 2 months to do it. You know what I mean? When we should have gave ourselves 6, we had 34 golfers. Half of our people showed up late the first year. It wasn't a very well run tournament. And I think if we weren't such a tight knit group and, we had that mission of wanting to continue to do it, we probably wouldn't have run it again. We went to a different event. So it's one of those things, like you said, if you run it well the first year, running it the second year is a lot easier and a lot more profitable for you.
Well, that's how I like, obviously watching what you guys do from a distance and watching the crystal tournament and watching, like I said, I went to Casa. So watching the baseball team do their tournament and a couple other people I know that do tournaments every year. Like I always look at it, like if you're going to start a golf tournament, it really isn't a one-off. Like just the way I look at it, my limited knowledge of the golf world, I always think if you're going to start this thing, it is with the mentality that this is going to be an annual thing that people expect year in and year out. So I think it's a really cool opportunity. And I think if people are willing to, either put in the work or connect with you guys to get, this thing going, it could be a huge, huge moneymaker, which is, I think, is a cool thing. And it's a lot of fun. Like that's what I keep going back to. I know you guys make it a lot of fun because of all these different creative ideas you guys implement. I mean, a wrestling ring at the tee box is pretty wild. I don't know how many other people are doing this type of stuff. Like, are there other people that are doing have a similar like type business that you guys do? Because I personally have never heard of it.
There's a couple other companies out there that are similar to what we're doing. I don't know. I don't know if they're doing exactly what we're doing. I feel like, and this comes from my experience in my everyday job, right? My normal business, which I've been doing for 17 years. I feel like I put that personal touch on it, right?
Right.
I'm there. I'm the one making your sandwich every day at Mr. Pickles. You know, I'm talking to you. I see you almost every day of the week. So that's what we bring, right? Troy and I are going to treat every tournament that we get like it's the Crystal Rodriguez tournament, like it's our own tournament, you know,
Right.
because that's how much we care. It doesn't matter what the cause is. We love, you know, anybody who's trying to, especially things for kids and stuff like that, right? Anybody who's trying to raise awareness and raise funds for a good cause, we're all on board. So we're going to do everything we can to treat it just like it would be our tournament that we run every single year. You know, that's the kind of mentality that we want to extend. And I definitely see that some of the businesses that are similar to what we do, I don't know if they have that same approach. They're geared a little bit more towards the profits. And there's this one company that they don't help you plan it really. They just want to come out and put their contests on the holes. So it's similar, but it's very different. So I think that we give that, you know, that follow through, that personal touch. We're going to treat it just like it's our own tournament. Every one that we do.
And kind of like what Vance is saying is like a wedding, like we always come back to a wedding. No wedding's ever going to be the same, and no golf tournament that we run is ever going to be the same. You know,
Sure.
So some of the things that we have out on the holes are going to be different depending on the organization that we're working with. Some people might want a lot of alcohol. Some people might not want any alcohol. We might gear it like the softball one coming up. We might have some more softball type, you know, games out there than we wouldn't rep. Basically, whatever comes into my head, I say to Vance, and he says, Troy, we can't do that, but here's what we could actually do. So that's basically how every meeting we've ever had has gone. So that's basically how we do it. We come up with these, we try to be different, like I said, and we try to give those water cooler moments, and we try to gear it towards the organization that we're working with, because like Vance says, we care about raising money for the organizations that we're working with. Like Lincoln Softball, we understand, you know, equipment, field work, dirt, all this, it's expensive, you know, and prices for everything are just going up more and more. So if we can give them that one, you know, opportunity, that one fundraiser for them, instead of them having to do 5 or 6 little fundraisers, I mean, why not just do that for them?
Yeah, no, and I think I'm a big advocate of that mindset, that I think if you're working with a company and the whole goal is just for them to make money, it's not as meaningful. But when you work with a group that has your passion in mind, and when they're like, hey, we want to help you accomplish your mission, accomplish your goal, it's just, I think there's something more I guess genuine or authentic about that. And I think people appreciate that, you know, and just like wedding planners, like you guys said, you know, you typically meet with a few different wedding planners, right, to see who kind of you vibe with, right?
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, it's one of those things. There may be other, you know, organizations that do something similar. These guys are better. I don't even know that they're organizations. Just trust me, these dudes are better. But, you know, like, even if there are other people that do the same thing, they don't have, like you said, the same personal touch that you guys have, or maybe not even the same experience. So some of the things that you guys may be able to avoid, those other groups may not, and, you know, vice versa. But yeah, I was curious, because I feel like it seems like a really unique thing to me. And, you know, you guys both, like you said, have very different skill sets, different perspectives you guys bring to the table. I like, Troy, that you bring all the ideas, and Ben's like, keep this one. He's like shuffling through to say, like, well, keep this one, that one, never say that again. You know what I mean? Like, I love that.
So I drive around in my truck all day, and then
That's the best thinking time.
I'm Vance's UPS driver, so I come into the shop, I get a soda and a bag of chips, and I go, Vance, listen, all right,
Yeah,
next week, this is what we're doing at the tournament. And then I walk out, he texts me, he goes, Troy, we're not doing that. That is crazy. You can't. Where are we going to get a live chicken? I'm like, don't worry about where we're going to get the live chicken. Okay.
Yeah. We're going to turn the dial down about 4 notches, and then we're going to do that. That will be okay.
I like that. Now, Troy, at what point of your day, like at what stop is he? Like, is he like halfway through?
He's early. He's early. So
you're lucky, because if you're towards the end of the day, man.
No, he gets texts all day. He gets texts all day. And sometimes I'll come.
Keep flowing.
Yeah, I'll come back in the afternoon sometime if I got something good.
Well, it's just one of those things that definitely Troy is, of the two of us, Troy is the more creative. I'm the logistics guy. So when he, you know, spitballs something, I just immediately put it in my head, like, okay, how
Can't do that.
it's not, I can't make that work. It's how can I make that work?
Yeah,
So
that's what Vance is very good about. We're kind of like in a marriage in a way where like I have come up with ideas and he goes, well, I'm more like his kid. And he goes, Troy,
Oh, hold on. We lost
okay,
Troy.
this is what we can do. I go, okay, perfect. Do you lose me for a second?
Yeah, repeat that whole thing because we lost you for a second.
I said, I'm more like Vance's kid. I come to him with this idea and he goes, Troy, okay, that's a really good idea. But instead of that, let's do this. I go, okay.
That's all it takes. But no timeout so far. It's like, hey, Troy, maybe take a seat for a second.
No
That's good.
timeouts.
That's good.
So Troy's idea was with the long drive competition to do the wrestling ring. He wanted to do it like a WWE, themed hole.
Yeah.
And that was, it took a little bit kind of massaging to figure it out exactly what the logistics would be. But we did it, right? I mean, that was something that he threw out there and he said, I think this would be cool. Nobody's ever done it before. Yeah. So we put it together and then, my dad and I actually physically constructed 3 sides of a wrestling ring. And then we designed this wrestling championship belt online. And it's on our Instagram. You can check out the pictures of it. It was a good time.
That's
but
awesome.
It was something that came out of Troy's head and we were able to, luckily pull it together. And then we got a $1,500 sponsor to pay for it all. So we made money and we were able to give a cool experience for the whole.
So awesome. that's where it is. I mean, you have to make it, the ideas have to make sense financially. And like Vance was saying, logistically, like we had another contest a few years back where Vance made a treasure chest, which like I could never do, but I'm like, hey, Vance, can you make a treasure chest? He's like, sure, Troy, whatever. So what we did is we used one of our auction prizes. We put it in the treasure chest. We put a lock on it. We sold combination codes. We put 2 girls out at the hole dressed like pirates. And we gave them, everybody got a shot of rum. So, I mean, it's those little things like, cool, I just got a shot of rum. Sure, I'll pay $20 for a combo code or $10 for whatever. I mean, we gave the rum to them, just whatever, go for it.
They're happy.
So it's those little things, like we said, that we can just do each year, change it up. We find things that we like. We find things that we can use here, use there, and just go for it.
Now, are you guys just constantly, because obviously you guys have a pretty tight group, especially with the Crystal tournament, because you guys have been doing it for so long. At this point, they know how creative your guys' tournaments are. Are you constantly just getting like a flood of ideas where it's like, hey, Troy, hey, Vance, I got an idea. What do you think about this? Like, and then if you feel comfortable, if you do get a bunch of ideas, like what's maybe the dumbest idea? It's like, I can't believe that person even suggested that. Like, why would they do that? You can get their name out. You can call them out too if you want. I don't care.
I don't know. It's hard to say. We get people that definitely have input. I'm just trying to think of what one that was not great.
That's a nice way of saying like I wish they wouldn't.
Blow anybody up either, but
yeah.
I don't know. Troy, do you remember of any?
It's one of those things where you get all these ideas, but then again, you have to see if it's going to work for your group. A lot of people have ideas like blindfolded or spin this wheel and you get to hit this club. But I mean, with us, we have a lot of that are kind of like really into golf and actually want to try to win. I'd probably say the top 10-15% of our golfers. So we try not to, in this tournament, we try not to add anything that's going to really deter too much from the golf. But I mean, there could be other groups where golf's the last thing they really care about. All they care about is having a good time and going out and raising money. So it's one of those things, again, like we talk about with the wedding, was we have to make sure that we gear towards the group that we're, preparing the tournament for.
So Josh, we have one idea floating around right now. We haven't put it out there yet.
We got an exclusive here. I'm ready.
Boy.
So we saw this tournament that was run. It was called a Greenskeeper's Revenge Tournament. And essentially what that means is that, every course has a greenskeeper that goes out and puts the pins in certain places or, does the fairways, does the bunkers, things like that. And golfers are always pissed off at them, right? Because they put they're just messing up. They're pissed off at them constantly. So this Greenskeeper's Revenge Tournament, it has basically like all these things that are obstacles on the golf course. So for example, there was one that we saw, and it's hard to logistically do it, but they put all of their tractors parked in the middle of the fairway. So you couldn't hit it right in the middle of the fairway. And then they
That's
took
awesome.
instead of the pin being on the green, they took it
Put
and they
in the
put it in the
bunker.
bunker. So you had to
Really?
hit it to the bunker.
And
And then
putted in the
they
bunker.
took there was another hole that had the pin was on the green, but they put all their hoses out like snakes on the green, so you couldn't hit it directly at the hole. So
That's
we have
cool.
this idea of this tournament that was run that we saw on Instagram of a greenskeepers revenge tournament.
Yep.
Troy and I have been trying to figure out the best way to go about it. Maybe condense it down to just one hole,
To
where we have the
start.
greenskeeper revenge hole,
I like that.
and do some funny stuff like that. But that's kind of one of those ideas that we've seen out there that we haven't put into place yet, just because it hasn't fallen in the right spot. But
Sure.
it'll be here. It'll be here someday.
Nice.
Yeah,
I like it.
we watch a lot of YouTube videos and on Instagram and all that. We've seen ones where they get this giant tractor and put a putter on the end of it, and you have to putt this giant ball into a hole, and like there's all sorts of
That's
crazy
awesome.
stuff that we eventually are gonna try to throw into our tournaments. But like Vance says, is we usually just add one idea at a time. We see if it works, and then we go from there. We're not gonna just throw 100 brand new ideas at a tournament when we already have a blueprint, like we talked about earlier, that we know is going to be successful.
Yeah. That's interesting. It reminds me, there's a buddy of mine. He's been involved with this YouTube channel called, I think it's called Tease Nuts. And it's a guy that just does all these different golf videos, and they try different things. And some of that stuff's pretty interesting. Like you can get pretty creative out there. Like I think, what you said, it was interesting about having different mindsets when it comes to these tournaments. Like you have some people that are like, I'm not interested in the craziness. I'm just trying to play golf. And the other people, like I've, like myself, maybe like I've played golf. I've literally played 18 holes of golf my entire life. And like the fun stuff would be awesome because I suck anyways. Like I might as well have a good time.
I suck anyway. What does it matter?
Yeah, the ball's not going to go where I want it to go anyways. Like I might as well,
I'll hit it with a hockey stick. What do I care?
100%.
So I played in
100%.
this tournament. And you had to tee off while sitting on a toilet. So it was like a toilet that was on the tee box, and you had to sit down and hold your driver out and tee off while you're sitting on a toilet.
Oh, yeah, that's funny.
I was in that one with you. It was sponsored by Lowe's or whatever.
Yeah.
I think, and they put a toilet out there and you had it. Oh man. I was not the one who had to do that, luckily. There's some cool other things that we've seen. They have what's called a helicopter drop. They put a big old bucket full of golf balls. You buy a golf ball and the helicopter comes in and he drops them on the green, and the closest to the hole or whatever ball goes in wins the big prize, and just different stuff like that you can add to a tournament.
Yeah.
Again, it's just one of those logistic things that you have to try to figure out.
Right. Well, it sounds like you guys are open. Like if you have a client and they have all these ideas, maybe they're watching the same YouTube videos. It sounds like you guys are open to all of these things, and it kind of depends on how it fits and if you guys can make it work. But it sounds like there's nothing really off the table until it can't. I mean, it literally can't work.
If we had a client that matched our our intensity when it came to ideas, then that'd be pretty wild. That'd be a heck of a tournament.
Yeah, it's one of, like you said, I mean, we're open to try anything. But we have to make sure there's so many things that go into it. We got to make sure it's okay with the course. We got to make sure it's okay with this and with that. And we got to make sure that we're not losing a lot of money on it. We got to make sure that, 80 to 90% of the players are going to enjoy it, because not everyone's going to enjoy every hole. Sure. We know that there might be some people that, oh, great, beer at another hole. Some people aren't going to want alcohol out there, but you have to just try to please as many people as you can.
Sure. Yeah, that would be that's the thing, right? Because I imagine that most of these tournaments you guys do it on 18 holes, or do you guys do 9-hole tournaments, or is it typically 18?
Typically 18.
Okay. So it's like 18 opportunities to potentially disappoint someone, right? It's like, you have to, it's still pretty good. If you can have the majority of the people at your tournament have a great time, and a few people, just have sucky attitudes, it's like, that's still pretty good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing is that people realize that it's for a cause, right?
Right.
I mean, we're asking typically $150 to come out and play a round of golf. That's not something that you're going to spend every day. So, people know it's for a cause and they want to have fun.
Right.
They probably, most of them want to have some drinks and get drunk,
Sure.
So, and not like 90% of people aren't going to be competitive in the competition of the actual golf. So we want to make sure that they have a good time. So we try to put as many of those things out there as we can to hopefully, give them a good time.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, the best golfers never win the tournaments anyways, because it's all honor system. So someone always comes in and is like, yeah, it's 25 under. We're like, you can't even bend down and tie your shoe. There's no way you're 25 under, but all right, here's your prize. It's like,
here's your.
That's funny.
So it's one of those things. It's like, it's not, I mean, obviously you'd like to win the tournament and get the, accolades and the free foursome to play another round with your group again. But at the end of the day, the best group doesn't always win. It's usually the least honest team that usually comes home with the championship.
I love that. That's so you just got to find like the biggest douche friend that you have, the one that has no problem cheating, and then you'll probably have a good shot at winning the tournament. I like that.
I'll take another mulligan. What do you mean? You've already used 8 on the third hole. Don't worry about it. It's for the kids.
Just let it. Yeah, it's charity. Don't worry about it. But that's the funny thing though, is like I imagine not too many people. I mean, sure, it'd be fun to go to work on that next Monday saying, "Hey, I won this tournament." But again, going back to the water cooler moments, no one's gonna really care about that. They're gonna be like, "Hey,
no one cares."
So there was a wrestling ring on the tee box. Hey, we got to launch a golf ball with this bazooka. I mean, that's just what they're going to talk about.
See, that's what's so cool about that long drive competition, because usually, again, like the best group score wise, long drives usually just honest code. But we had a guy sitting out in the ring, one of our volunteers, with binoculars to make sure that the actual winner won it. And he was so into the rules, he would drive down there with the groups to make sure that it was in the fairway and it was the furthest. He'd write the name on, and then he'd run back to the tee box while the other group was hitting their second shot, because he was that into the rules.
Dang,
we definitely picked the right guy.
Wait, was he dressed up like a wrestler?
No.
Oh, come on.
That would have been good.
Hey, now you're giving ideas. We love it. Maybe next year he will be. Captain Sano show no mercy.
That would be awesome. What was his move in that movie?
Poke me in the eye.
Poke me in the eye.
Maybe avoid that.
Yeah.
You have a bunch of golfers like hold their eyes, like they can't see their way around the course. That's cool, man. And that's a cool, like I said, I keep going back to it, but I think at this point, if you guys, whoever's listening, can't imagine how much fun this would be with, working with you guys and having you guys help them put on a fun tournament. Like you're clearly not listening, because, everything you guys are saying seems like it would just make for a really good time and obviously make a ton of money. Let me ask you this, just kind of going in a different direction, but staying on golf. On this podcast, every once in a while, we'll do a pet peeve episode. Deb and I will talk about like 3 or 5, pet peeves that we have. And we're starting to run out, but then like every day I go to work, something else comes up. It's like, no, I got 5 more. But when it comes to the golf course, you guys have obviously spent some time on the golf course. If you guys each had to choose one pet peeve, it's like, man, if this happens today, I might lose my mind. What is the one pet peeve on the golf course that drives you nuts?
Oh man.
Well, Troy, you gotta go first. I only get one.
We'll start with one. If you got more, go ahead, man. Share them. But what's the top one?
I can't stand slow play.
Okay.
If you're out there on a Saturday, you should be playing ready golf. You should be at your ball ready to go. Even if you suck, you should be playing quick. I can't stand slow play. That is one thing. Like, there's no reason why we all shouldn't be playing in 4 to 4.5 hours. Let's go. You're not that good. Just put the snowman on the scorecard and drive to the next hole. We're good. All right. We don't need to watch you chip it 14 times up there.
I can understand that. That would drive me crazy too. Now I might be the one that was slowing things up, but if I was in a better position, I would probably be bothered by that as well.
But it's not even that thing of like, you don't have to be good to play quickly. You just have to be ready to go when it's your turn and just go. It's like, I'm not that great at golf. I mean, I used to shoot the hundreds all the time. I'd go out with my dad and brother, who were both super good, and I played quicker than they did, and I hit like twice as many shots as they did. So it's just getting ready to play, and I just can't stand slow play. With this old man body that I have, if I have to wait around longer than 45 seconds, it's going in the woods.
Yeah.
It's going straight into the woods or the water.
There you go. So, hey, if you're in front of the Troy, keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
What about you, Vance?
I'd have to say that's hard, but I don't like guys that take it too serious. Everybody's got that buddy, right? I mean, it's like shows up and he's like, hitting the range for an hour before. Like I'm gonna get a breakfast burrito and a Jack and Coke, and I'm gonna go to the tee box. So
breakfast of champions.
If you're gonna play with me, don't take it too serious. Don't come out here and I hate guys that like hit a good shot and they're still like, man, I missed that one a little bit. Like just take it easy, big guy. So luckily I don't play with too many people like that, but sometimes you get partnered with people like that, and that's frustrating. Like I played with my buddy Bryce one time, and it's like these two guys were just taking it.
Bryce
Furland, yeah,
sure.
And they were just taking it way too seriously, and it's like, you know what, man? I'm out here to have a good day of golf, right? What did they say? A bad day of golf is better than a good day of work.
Yeah,
so
sure.
Just take it easy and enjoy the ride, man. Don't take it too serious.
Man, and I think we all know this from we've all played adult softball, we've played adult sports leagues, recreational stuff. There, in my opinion, and I'm competitive. I love to win, but there is nothing sadder than a grown man who takes those the adult sports too seriously.
Too seriously, yeah. No, you're right. I'm all for competitive, and I'll be competitive with myself. I'll be competitive with the person I'm playing with, whether it's Troy or Bryce or whoever. I'll be competitive, but like, don't be the guy that's
not recently. He hasn't been competitive.
Yeah, he's playing in the he's in the PGA Tour every Sunday at Diamond Oaks Golf Course.
Right.
The flat stick's been hot last few times Vance and I went out. So
Troy's got some ownage.
No. Well, Vance, man, one of the more recent things that you and I reconnected on was maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, I think, was adult softball, right? We were playing men's softball league over at Fair Oaks Park. Yeah. I forgot who I got. I think I got the invite from Ryan Cook. Or maybe I can't remember.
It's probably Cookie or Jake Bandilla.
Had to be Cookie.
Yeah. It must have been that. But so we went out there, and I don't know if you remember. There was that, and I feel like this dude's out there all the time. There was that one guy that we played against, and it seemed like every single week this dude was on the team. He had like a huge beard. He talked all the time, and he was like a staple out there. I even played in another league with a different team 2 years later. The dude was still out there. It's like, this guy plays every single day on multiple teams, like
every single night.
And like you said, wouldn't be bad, but he took it a little too seriously. So you gotta calm down a little bit. You know what I mean? It's a bizarre thing.
Yeah, I think it's just weird. I don't know. It's a weird adult sports are an interesting breed in themselves, and you don't need to push it further than what it is. I mean, we're not out here to make money at it. We're not out here to win championships and win the World Series. It's just it's interesting.
There's a lot of people kind of reliving the past and that kind of stuff out there. A lot of people don't get that competitive juice flowing very often. Right. So when they finally get to it, it's just all that they really care about.
They just lose their mind. Well, I played in an adult baseball league for a couple of years after I graduated from high school. Yeah, right. It was a fun group of guys. Like my team they were great. A lot of fun guys on that team. But I remember the last game I played in that league, we played a team, and our pitcher started barking at one of the fans, and then the fan started making his way out to the field. But the guy he was barking at was in a wheelchair. It was someone else's dad. He started barking at him. I was like, "Oh, that dude! I thought he was gonna get up." It's like once he went from behind the backstop, like, "Oh, he's in a wheelchair. He's ready to fight our pitcher." And that's when I realized, you know what? It might be time to move on. I can't keep doing this. Maybe one day, but right now, it was such a bizarre scene. Like that was my last memory of playing in adult baseball.
Playing hardball.
Yeah. So, like you said, Troy, I think people, that competitiveness, they're few and far between to get those juices going, and it gets intense sometimes. But those are good pet peeves. I'm going to keep that in mind when I go out to the golf course. So keep it moving. And then don't take it too seriously. I should be able to do that. I'll be fine out there.
There you go.
Yeah, easy.
Just be ready to hit. Doesn't take that much. Takes no effort to try.
We could wrap it up right there.
I don't think that's right.
Hey, that's okay. I agreed with that. I'm like, yeah, that sounds good to me.
So whatever he said.
What are your guys' favorite courses? Like, obviously, we don't want to ruin any relationships you guys have. But what if you guys had to pick maybe a couple that you guys really enjoy locally, or even because I know at one point you guys mentioned not just working here locally in Sacramento, but some tournaments beyond that too. Like, what are some of your favorite courses that you've had the chance to play?
Right.
I'm a big Timber Creek guy out there in old Sun City, Roseville. Just my grandparents live out there, so I
Yeah.
played it quite a few times. I'm not going to say anything bad about any of the courses. There's some
Sure.
very tough courses where,
Right.
spoiler alert, we may or may not be running a tournament next year. Whitney Oaks is a very, very difficult golf course out there in Rockland.
Mhm.
The Ridge is absolutely gorgeous, but very, very difficult as well. I don't
That's
know if you
Auburn.
can, yeah, I don't know if you
Yeah.
can get the vibe here, but a lot of the courses for us are hard. Um,
Man, I have a tough time at Scandia, so you guys are still, like I said, better than me.
Yeah, that carpet though, it always breaks to the right. A little tear here, a little tear there. You got to be careful.
Those little pebbles, absolutely.
My favorite course in the area is Ansel Hoffman. I
Yeah.
probably play there like 60% of my rounds are played at Ansel Hoffman. If you go to play Ansel Hoffman, you better like playing in the trees because there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
But it's just really nice. It's beautiful right there on the river. So they keep it in great shape. Ansel Hoffman's my favorite. I have had a chance to play some nicer courses out of the area, like the course up at Cache Creek, Yochadihi.
Okay.
That's a very nice course. It's one of the nicest courses in California,
Wow.
and it's very pristine. They keep it really well, maintained out there. And then when I was younger, I was in a traveling men's group with my dad. We would play on once a month on Sundays,
Really?
and we would go to different courses all over Northern California. And we actually got to spend the weekend in Pebble Beach. We didn't play Pebble Beach because it's like $550 a round, but we played Poppy Hills, and then we played Spyglass, and then we played Pacific Grove. So Poppy
Wow.
Hills is a very nice course down there. It's similar to that Pebble Beach style. But those are some of the nicer courses that I've played, and those are like really nice, especially those ones down in Pebble Beach area.
Yeah, I actually had the what year was this? Was this 2011? I can't remember. I actually had a chance to work at the US Open at
Oh,
Pebble
really?
Beach. Yeah, I was working with a catering group, and we were doing that to raise money. So you got to like you would work a certain amount of hours, and you got paid for the hours that you worked. And so I was actually in the USGA suite
Oh,
serving.
that's sweet.
It was cool. It was a lot of fun. Like I didn't, it was cool seeing like, Tiger come through. We were overlooking the putting green. So,
Ooh.
I saw Tiger, Phil Mickelson, and that's pretty much my extent. Like I don't know any of these other dudes, but like obviously I got excited when I saw like Scott Van Pelt, Chris Berman. I could hear his voice from like a mile away.
Rumbling, bumbling, stumbling.
That's exactly like I know that voice for sure. So for me, it was cool seeing all the ESPN Sports Center anchors and all that. But yeah, it was a cool experience. But even me as someone who's not a golfer, it's a beautiful course. I just like being at golf courses. You know what I mean? So even if, again, speaking to anybody who might be similar to me and you want to participate in one of these tournaments, donate to a good cause, you can just enjoy the scenery. You're going to suck. Who cares? But you can still enjoy the scenery, give to a good cause, and still enjoy your day. So that's the thing I love about golf courses.
Yeah, they're really open to any and every competition level, right? I mean, we've got a lot of people that will bring their wives, like we talked about earlier, to be two dudes and their wives, and they just go out and have a good time, and
Yeah.
whatever they shoot. They don't care. It's for a good cause, and it makes for a fun day. And then the things that we do on the golf course help that as well. So it's not just about the golf. So you're right. There's definitely just being out of the golf course it's fun. It makes for a great day. Plus you get dinner, you get all kinds of food, you get all kinds of booze. So it makes for a great day.
Yeah, that's the main thing that we like to do. That's why we like to put something on every single hole. So even if you're not really there for the golf, you at least are excited when you finish one hole and you're moving on to the next, because you just really don't know what it's going to be. Is it going to be, a hot dog? Is it going to be a churro? Is it going to be a shot of whiskey? What is it going to be? You just are excited for that next hole. And then at the end, like Vance says, you get dinner or lunch usually when we're done. There's a raffle, there's an auction. I know at the CRMSF, it's one of the best looking auctioneers I've ever seen in my life. He does a really good job with that. So Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, it's not really golf, it's more of an event that you're paying for. It's,
Yeah.
it's a little bit longer of a day, but like you said, that $150, let's say, I mean, you're going to be there a good 5-6 hours, so that money kind of stretches.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's awesome. I'm gonna take us in a completely different direction. I want to make sure I get you guys out of here because we've been doing this for about an hour. I know you guys have jobs, kids,
Bush
families,
League.
all that stuff. So I want to make sure you get out of here.
Good thing
That being
Deb
said, I
wasn't
do
here.
appreciate that you guys are willing to do this at 8 o'clock at night, because some people that don't have kids are like, "Why are we doing this at 8 o'clock?" Like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we got bedtimes, dude. You gotta work with me." And then anytime I have parents on, not once has a parent complained like 8 o'clock. They're like, "Yeah, that makes sense. We'll do it."
It's more like, can we bump it to 8:30?
I've had that request. A buddy of mine is like, seriously? I'm like, man, if you want to do it at 9 o'clock, we'll do it. But it has to be after 8. Has to be after 8. So I appreciate you guys not giving me any issues with that. But again, one last thing before we get out of here. Vance, this is completely off topic, but your day job, you own Mr. Pickles out on Sunrise and Madison, if you guys are from the Sacramento area. Let me ask you this. How many, first of all, how can you get a sandwich made after you? And then second, like, how many times do you get that request? I'm just thinking, I just want to take some notes now.
I get that request very, very often. People come in like, I've been coming in forever. I need a sandwich named after me. I get that request very often. I may have to make a little special sign or something. Everybody gets their name on the sandwich for a week.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. I like that. So
we'll see. Maybe we can get one named after the podcast up there.
Well, I don't know. Well, I would love to, but then my co-host is flaky, so maybe we can use that. Like use it like a Dutch crunch bread, like a little bit like a flakier bread.
Super flaky.
We can make this work. You know what? I reconsidered. Yeah, if you ever want us to have a sandwich, that'd be awesome.
All right, you think about it and let me know. It's got to be a good sandwich, though.
I know I gotta think of some combinations.
It's only gonna be half full, but don't worry about it. It's just a sandwich.
Yeah, it's like an open faced sandwich, only one piece of bread.
This is Deb's half.
Yeah. So Troy, have you pitched a sandwich before?
Well, there's already a Troy Spivey with olives, so
is that on the menu?
No, it's on the secret menu.
Man, I got so excited. That might be better. Secret menu?
He'll text me like 5 or 10 minutes before he's there. If he's hungry, he'll just say TSPOW. TSPWOY. There it is. TSPWOY.
And I imagine at this point your staff knows what that is.
No, I can't go in there and order a sandwich if Vance is there. I don't know what's on it. This was like 15 years ago or something like that. I don't know. He just hands it to me. I just give him my money. I don't know.
That's a good system. I like that. So I'm sorry. What is it? What is the sandwich again?
So he calls it a Troy Spivey with olives, TSPWO.
Okay, and what's on that?
It's chicken breast, bacon, avocado, Monterey Jack cheese with mayo, lettuce, tomato, 3 onions, a little bit of garlic sauce, and a pinch of olives.
And if you guys aren't watching, I feel like there's such a look of pride on Troy's face right now, kind of like, yeah, that's my sandwich. Like, look at his face.
But now I'm going to have to order it other times now that I know what's on it. Not that I remember.
We broke the code.
Damn it.
That's awesome. Well, hey, is there anything else you guys want to mention or talk about before we get out of here? Anything coming up? Obviously, how can people get in touch with you? And if they are interested in starting something up, how can they get a hold of you? Anything else before we get out of here?
Yeah, so you can check out our Instagram, Charity Golf Guys. And then we also have our website, thecharitygolfguys.com. You can reach out on there. It shows we've got a gallery of some of the stuff that we've done, kind of shows what our process is. But yeah, you can definitely reach us on there if anybody's interested. We'll give you a call and set something up. But yeah, charitygolfguys.com or at charitygolfguys on Instagram.
Awesome. I'm just looking. This episode is going to release on December 6th. So we're right at the end of November now. Obviously, we're in the Christmas season, and I have to ask you guys. I like to ask this question to other parents. What do you guys? First of all, do you guys do the elf on the shelf thing?
We do not.
Nope.
All right, this makes me very happy. I don't understand why people do this to themselves. I hate that creepy thing. And it makes no sense because once you do it the first time, you are stuck.
You're stuck. You got 24 days of it.
And yeah, I'm telling you, like, so I'm glad that neither one of you guys like does this, because I think it's nonsense. I don't know why people do this themselves. It's a lot of pressure too, because you have to constantly think of new ways. I was listening to Bill Simmons' podcast. This was a couple of years ago, and cousin Sal was saying that he messed up, or he was getting frustrated with it, and so he decided to put the elf on the kid's iPad. And so I guess the rule with the elf on the shelf is the kid can't touch it. And so he couldn't move it, and he couldn't touch the iPad, and it caused chaos. And
Love it.
like, I've had enough of this. And then, his wife's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And then think of like a special rule to like move the elf. But all right, good. I'm glad we got to stop this. This is nonsense. I mean, if people want to do it, go for it, but I don't see the point.
Well, I think they're like writing books now and coming up with like things to do for, ideas to do with your elf on the shelf.
Yeah, to each their own. I think my brother and his wife and their kids, they do it. I mean, just depends. Everyone has different traditions. Everybody does different things. So although it might not be right for us, it could be right for somebody else.
That's a much more balanced view than me.
Some of the spinoffs that I've seen, like Snoop on a Stoop, and it's a little mini Snoop Dogg.
Okay, that's actually pretty interesting. I like that.
I've seen a couple of different ones. That's pretty funny.
I like that. And so one last thing before we get out of here, is Christmas a big deal for you guys? Like, is it a big deal for your families, and you guys have big plans this year?
Yeah, we have kids, so it's a big deal around our house.
Yeah. Have you heard of it? There's gifts.
Yeah.
Well, not only that is I have one son. He's going to be 4 actually, and his birthday's December 11th. So we got a whole December. So we got the birthday, and then 2 weeks later we have Christmas, which was the only Christmas I didn't have to work, is when he was born. So I'll always remember that.
Nice.
We have our youngest daughter is December 13th as well. So this is her first birthday coming up. So she's not quite ready for the presents yet, but we've got a big old thing planned. We've got family coming in, so my parents will be here the whole like the 13th through the 20th. I think 13th through the 20th or the 30th. So they're gonna be here quite a long time.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I haven't seen your parents for a minute. I think the last time I saw your pops was at Character Combine, helping you out delivering sandwiches. So we'll wish them a Merry Christmas I can't speak. I'm sorry. Wish them a Merry Christmas for me. It's late.
I will do that. I will wish them a Merry Christmas for you, Josh.
I'm glad you understood what I was trying to say.
Could you say it again, though?
I can't, man. I'm not even sure I'm going to turn this thing off. Like, I'm such a mess right now. So that's what happens. I run out of water. I drink it too fast, and then my mouth's dry. I can't speak. I gotta start wearing a Camelback to this thing, I think, because I'm struggling by the end of this hour. So
that's funny.
Hey guys, as always, a lot of fun. Again, I would encourage you guys to check out the Charity Golf Guys, follow them, do all of that stuff. Even if you don't plan on starting a tournament, still follow them, because it's a fun follow. You guys are doing an awesome job on social media. And so, I'm excited to see where this continues to grow and where it continues to move. And I know I speak for a lot of people where we're thankful that you guys are doing this and helping people get connected to other people, get connected to, more money for their organizations. Like, it's just an awesome thing. So, and I'm not just saying that because I like you guys. Like, I really do mean that. Like, I think it's a really cool thing what you guys are doing. So I hope it does well.
Thanks, Josh. I appreciate you having us on.
Yeah, absolutely, guys.
Yeah, it's always been a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
So good to see you. Tell Deb we say hello, and we'll do this again soon.
I'm not going to tell her anything because she doesn't deserve your hello. I'm going to be honest. So she knows that she missed out. That's all she gets. So
it's true.
All right, you guys take care.
All right. See you, Josh.
Thanks for watching the show. If you enjoyed that episode, make sure you like it, share it, and hit the subscribe button to get a new episode every week. We'll see you next time on the Connectable podcast.